Thank you. My name is Paul Son. I'm the State Policy Director for the National Employment Law Project. We're a national employment policy research and advocacy organization. And I'm here to speak in strong support of the 2016 EAP overtime rule and would urge the department to reinstate it and not consider modifying it. I mean, I don't think there's any serious debate that the overtime standards are woefully out of date. And we speak with workers across the country, and the very real harmful impact on workers and their families is really very, very serious. You have a situation where in every state of the country, tens of thousands of workers are employed as low-level managers, are earning salaries as low as $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 a year, and are working regularly, 50 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, even more, and not getting a penny of extra pay. Workers after worker tells us how this really prevents them from engaging with their family, with their churches, with their communities, and frankly prevents them from working second jobs, which many of them would like to do because their salaries are just so low and really wildly out of line with what an exempt manager's salary should be. It obviously does not need to be this way. Back in 1975, more than 60% of full-time salary workers fell below the DOL overtime threshold. It's plummeted to now less than 7%, and really the threshold has become irrelevant. As you just heard, that actually has fueled a lot of litigation because the threshold is a much more readily enforceable bright line standard that's easier for workers and employers to understand. The 2016 proposal was a very modest update. It would have restored coverage to roughly 33% of the full-time salary workforce. So really it was only a down payment on restoring the threshold to where it used to be during the 70s, during an era when we had a strong middle class and strong wage growth. Also, as you know, the standard was set based on assessment of wages in the lowest cost region of the United States. Frankly, 48,000 and change, close to 50,000, is really woefully inadequate for regions such as Providence or the Northeast. And it was a very, very modest measure. As you also know, many major employers, by some surveys, approximately half or more of major employers voluntarily adopted the higher standard because it was, it's about to take effect. Most of them have kept it in place, including many national chains, with no evident harmful effect. It really shows how quite manageable and modest the proposal was. Another key thing that the 2016 proposal remedied was the inappropriate mismatch found in the 2004 regulation, which combined on the one hand, a very liberal duties test and a very moderate salary threshold. In the past, there had either been a tighter duties test or a higher threshold. The 2016 update restored that mismatch by leaving the duties test alone, obviously, and restoring the threshold to a much more robust level. Partly that was responsive to employer preferences. There was, I think, a strong sentiment from the business community not to modify the duties test. If you were to revisit and go with a lower salary threshold, it would be legally necessary then to tighten up the duties test. And obviously there's likely to be litigation. Another key point is we talk with workers across the country, every week, and the idea that the workers prefer the flexibility of being able to be forced to work, overtime for no extra pay is a complete myth. Also, it's not necessary to reclassify workers to hourly to keep them non-exempt. There are many employers that keep workers as salaried and just track their time the way most professionals do. Probably many of the lobbyists and lawyers in the room track their time while they're exempted. So it's a very common practice. In closing, this is a really popular middle-class issue. The public polling shows that in almost every state of the country, 75% of the public wants a strong overtime standard. It's roughly 75% to 15% strong bipartisan majorities, including majorities of Republicans, Independent, and Democratic voters, all support strong action to restore the overtime threshold. This was really one of the most popular steps that DOL has taken in recent years, and it would be a mistake to weaken it in any fashion. Thank you very much.